What's going on, guys? Well, it's time for an update on the 636. She's now rocking 435 miles on the clock. Already, we've got a serious upgrade in the works. We've got a re-gear to talk about, still waiting on full exhaust, plus the mailman's brought us some goodies. So let's dive into it. Okay, guys, so as far as major upgrade, S22'S are now on this bike. Bridgestone, in my opinion, makes one of the absolute best street bike tires. This motorcycle needed them badly because those Pirelli Rosso 4s that this thing came with were sketchy. We'll dive into the details of that here in just a minute. But the other update that I want to bring you guys, first part of a re-gear is already knocked out. We've gone ahead and gone with a 42 tooth rear sprocket. The factory one is 43. Taking just a little bit of bite out of the gearing of this bike, giving it a little bit longer legs on the highway. I tell you what, I've ridden it already with this setup. It is so confidence inspiring. I am able to drive this thing through corners so much harder now with these tires. So let's talk about that plus the goodies that the mailman showed up with. Okay guys, so the tires. I gotta tell you, this is the most transformative thing for this motorcycle. As a matter of fact, if you've got a 636 that was factory equipped with the Pirellis, I would highly suggest making a move quickly, at least in my opinion. The Pirellis were just so sketchy. So one of the issues that I had was I was trying to sort out the suspension on my bike, and although I knew that the settings were pretty much within the noise where they should have been, you know, sag was about right at 35 front and rear, the hydraulics were about where they should have been, I was still running into some issues. Whenever I would ride that motorcycle and drop it into corners, especially if I wasn't on just absolutely perfect concrete, I was getting a lot of front end skittering, and I would almost always have a step out of the rear end. Now, that's really unnerving, especially when you're trying to work through suspension settings and get this bike dialed in. In fact, the rear stepping out was such a common occurrence that I just knew that at some point when I was riding this bike that I was going to get some level of a significant step out coming out of a left or a right hand tight corner. So much so that at one point I thought that I had actually had a blowout with this thing. So I figured straight away, look, there's got to be something going on here. It can't just be the suspension. It's compliant. This bike should be on rails. It wasn't. So moving to a set of known tires for me, the Bridgestone S22'S. Look, I've had those tires on my ZX6R 1000. I've had them on other bikes. They are rock solid performers. I never have any loss of confidence driving those things hard into and out of corners with a motorcycle that was making roughly 185 horsepower to the rear tire. So absolutely not going to have a problem with them on the 636. And now the confidence level is exactly where it should be with that bike. I can come into corners regardless of what kind of concrete or asphalt I'm on, drop that thing over, have all the confidence in the world that that thing is going to stick and it's going to go exactly where I am looking. Didn't have that level of confidence with the Pirelli. So if nothing else, guys, that has been enough to just make me fall back in love with this machine all over again. Now, the re-gear is only down one tooth. It didn't really have any effect as far as performance goes, but it did take a little bit of the bite out of the RPM going down the highway. I picked up a couple of hundred RPM, which doesn't sound like much, but you can really feel it going down the road. And that translates to maybe 3, maybe 4 miles per hour, depending on how fast you're going down the highway. It makes it just a little bit easier to ride the thing longer distances. The 636 is famously very aggressively geared. It's identical to having a GSX-R 600 with a 1 down, 2 up setup. That's real aggressive. So little slight minor changes is not going to affect performance whatsoever, and having a little bit longer legs is always good. And it's always welcome, especially when you consider that this motorcycle is soon to have a full M4 exhaust. It's going to be a Tech 1 carbon. It's going to be making a ton of power across the board. And with that extra power come a reduction in rider aids and nannies. You start turning those things off or down, and now the bike is going to be a whole lot more responsive in first and second gear. And so once that setup is done on the bike, I may end up going a little bit more aggressive with the Re-gearing of this bike and go a little bit bigger on that primary sprocket, which is the little one, may go up 1 tooth there. That would give it the same gearing as a stock GSX-R 600, which, by the way, is already 15% more aggressive than a stock GSX-R 750, and that'll give you an idea of just where this bike may end up once the gearing is knocked out in the tune and everything else is done. 636s are known to be a handful. Can't wait for this bike to get wrapped up because I am already loving this bike even more than I thought that I would. So the mailman showed up. We've got a set of exhaust gaskets for the, if it ever gets here, M4 exhaust. But we've also got the velocity stacks. Now these are the TST designed by Two Wheel Dyno Works velocity stacks. They're made out of the same rubber that the factory velocity stacks are made out of and molded into this unique shape. In talking to even other tuners, they said that for the 636, especially the 24 and up, these are the way that you want to go. So here they are. Once the exhaust shows up, I'm going to go ahead and pull the bike apart. We're going to get the velocity stacks in. I'm going to do the marble mod, turn off all the pair stuff. That way, don't have to worry about that. And we'll get the thing ready for the full exhaust to get on this thing. I can't wait to bring you updates with the bike then, but that's not going to stop us from having fun with this machine. Even though it's quiet, it's like riding a 125 horsepower sewing machine, she's still a riot to get out on the road. Can't wait to bring you guys more updates as we are building up to the final portion of the build on this bike. But with that, guys, if you made it this far into the video, consider smashing that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you know. And with that, I hope to see you on the next update on this bike. Y'all take care.